Hey, what's up Yoon-Fam? It is I,
Mark Yoon.
and today I'm bringing another hopefully exciting video. So what I got for you today is the all-encompassing explanation, or at least my personal explanation, of Iska Acht, the character, mysterious swordswoman that we see in the end of Setsuka's Soul Chronicle as the shadow person, which is she's represented by, and the person who also encounters our heroes and villains in Nightmare's new story and in Mitsurugi's new story. Now, this video is going to contain heavy spoilers for the new Soul Chronicles that came with DLC 13, so if you haven't played them yet, I would suggest clicking off of this video and playing them first and then coming back for the explanations. Other than that, we're just going to jump right into the video. So this is the person here, the Iska Acht. The first thing that I want to note is that I was talking about her in my last video lightly, about how she has she swears some similarities with Zwei, how she has his moon crescent tattoo on her neck, the same as he has on his chest, and how they may be somehow related to each other, not by blood, obviously. I mean, relation just non-familial, so just like related to each other. But besides the heterochromia, which we will get into, the tattoo also leads something else. We can see that in her name. So Acht is the number 8 in German, and Zwei is the number 2 in German. So they have some similar relation there as their names, but beyond that and the tattoos, the heterochromia actually lends towards something else. And a lot of people were pointing this out, but I want to get into exactly what this means. So there's a character called Iska Farkas in Soul Calibur Legends, the game for the Nintendo Wii, the hack and slash game. It was pretty crappy, so not many people played it. I mean, it is what it is. But that game is non-canon, but this seems to be a gender bend or a gender swap of Iska Farkas, because when you look at the character profile for both characters, both of them say that they have a sister that's Leona Farkas, that's deceased. This is not mentioned that either one of them have relation to each other in there. So, for example, if you look up Farkas's or Leona's bio, you will not see Acht on there at all. You just pretty much see Iska and Leona. So obviously there's some kind of relation there, and I do think it is a gender bend. It's like a revamping of the character per se, because the other character didn't really have anything to do too much with Zwei or anything of that nature. Well, we can go over and we can read his bio real quick. So Iska Farkas is one of the key characters who appears in Soul Calibur Legends, in which he serves as the hidden true main antagonist of the game. He is a 16-year-old Hungarian refugee who serves as a court jester for the Masked Emperor and travels alongside Siegfried. So obviously I have some pictures of their interactions going on here with that stuff. There's a bunch more about this character, but when we're actually looking at it objectively from her perspective, it seems that she is just filling the role of him. They both share the same heterochromia and stuff like that. Heterochromia, if you don't know, is 2 multicolored eyes. It doesn't seem to play too large of a role in what's going on here, but it seems that she is playing the same antagonistic role that he was also playing in Legends, and since Legends isn't really canon, this is just their way of bringing that character into the canon universe. They did switch the genders, which I don't think is too big of a deal, because not many people played that game, so it's not like he's super iconic or anything like that. But that is the deal with her. So she have some relation to Zwei because she has the same tattoo. I don't know if she can use the transformation or anything like that. Here's another thing. I don't think she's going to be a playable character. Because if you actually play Mitsurugi's story, she in fact is in the story. And she does fight Mitsurugi. The problem lies in the fact of her fighting style as it is. She's not like a fleshed out character that has her own fighting style. What she does is she transforms into Cervantes, Nightmare, and Inferno, which happen to be the bosses of Soul Calibur 6. Soul Calibur series as a whole, and obviously she didn't transform into Algol because that disembodied voice that was speaking to Mitsurugi directly was Algol himself. So there's a lot that you can actually, like, surmise from that. But for me, it's more of like she's playing a role of a hairbringer or a vessel, something akin to that. Obviously, like, she plays her own way and she also fights, but it doesn't seem like she's going to be playable because of the fact that she just transforms like that. She is seen, like, trying to stave off this disembodied voice, which does seem to be Algol because it mentions many different things from the past, such as Mitsurugi, do you want to fight me again? Do you want to transcend history, or, like, do you want to, you know what I mean? With meaning that, like, he's probably the only Algol that exists in whatever this multiverse is. Whether or not that old timeline actually still exists or not is, I don't know if it was eaten by an astral fissure, but we still don't know if Hwang Sung-kyung actually came from that astral fissure or not. But this Algol seems to be almost ready to not be awakened because he's already awakened, but to escape from the astral fissure or whatever entrapment that he's in. That seems to be why they're gathering so much. Another note is Acht in Nightmare's story, Nightmare specifically asks about the shards, because she's supposedly tasked with gathering the shards for Nightmare. And she, this is what she was picking up from the end of Setsuka's story, by the way, so that ties into that. She was actually telling him that maybe we should wait until they fill up with power before we get them, because don't you pluck fruit from a vine when it's ripe as opposed to when it's just budding. And he agrees, but that's because he's got some inner turmoil where Siegfried is trying to take over his personality because he can only transform partially during the day. So Nightmare's doing this to get rid of Siegfried, and Acht is doing this to gather the power from the shards. I believe this power is going to be probably combined with the ultimate seed from Aswell to finally bring Algol into our universe. And I think a lot of this is setting up for Soul Calibur 7. I don't necessarily think that any of this is going to play a part in Soul Calibur 6. I believe we are going to get a Season 3. Yoon-Song, Algol, Yoon-Song, Aeon, and Rock. I mean, it could be Algol, but I still kind of doubt it at this point. Especially because at the end of Nightmare's story, it says to be continued, and it hasn't said that in any of the Soul Chronicles thus far. If Algol were to come in Season 3, it wouldn't say to be continued. It would just, like, end like the way the regular ones end, because they all have side stories and cliffhangers. And then he would, have his own Soul Chronicle to accompany that. But since Nightmares definitively says to be continued, and it's the only one that does, that leads me to believe that the characters that are going to be released as a part of Season 3, they are going to have Soul Chronicles and stories, but their stories are going to be separate from these actual events. Not saying they're not canon, I'm just saying that, like, the events that are going on right now, these characters are not going to be a part of those specific events. So it can actually lead with saying to be continued without us having to worry about, like, what the story is going to be like for Season 3. A lot of people could disagree with me because people still really want Algol in this game, and I'm not saying that he's definitively not. This is just all my opinion. I could be wrong. But I believe this is just really good foreshadowing that's leading up to Soul Calibur 7. Be it or not, as it may, whether Soul Calibur 7 comes out in 2023 or 2024, at this point, the Season 3 is going to take about a year to fully come out, and after that's finalized, we're going to have, like, probably a year, maybe 2 at the most, of lull before 7 comes out, because I believe they're already working on the game. That's why they're tying all this stuff in now and bringing back these characters and showing us new characters. I believe in 7 we are going to get Zwei, we are going to get Algol, we are going to get Viola. There's just a lot of things. And, like, Gro's storyline was also kind of tied up with the events that happen now, but I think now he's got new purpose, because in Nightmare's story we do see a malfested or partially malfested Curtis, and this is probably going to give Gro some kind of, like, purpose again to help the Evolve organization or to join the Conduit and stop whatever's going on. Again, I do think that Acht is going to play a role as the sub-antagonist for Soul Calibur 7, or like kind of like the partner character to Algol. I don't know whether Aswell is actually dead or not. I don't know if he's not coming back, or he'll just come back as like a character but won't be in the story. But I believe that maybe she's going to grab the ultimate seed from him or finish his work somehow and then use the power of the shards at their full power to bring Algol forth. There's not much else that's actually out there about this character. It's just that she's a gender-bent version of Iska Farkas from Legends. She now is tied rather to Zwei because of the tattoo. Whether she's the one that actually gives him the power of that the werewolf spirit that we see him use in 5 or not is totally different. I have no idea like what's going on with that. I can only tell you the things that are purposefully done thus far. So we see all of this culminating together as good foreshadowing for Soul Calibur 7, and I do believe that we're still getting Season 3, but I think that those characters are just going to have Soul Chronicles that have nothing to do with this main part of the story. Like maybe Rock's just like looking for Bangu or something, or we see Aeon come back to try and reclaim his title as leader of the Lizardmen, since like right now they're being run by like the Fascal Sestimus and under those people. And I can also see Yoon Sung coming back to like start a journey, or if it is Algol, we can see his part. But I doubt, like I said, I highly doubt that it's Algol, just especially because that to be continued at the end of Nightmare Story. They're not going to say to be continued and then be like, oh, by to be continued we are going to continue it in Season 3, because this is the second season and there was no to be continued from Season 1. So that's just, I mean, I'm just like pulling that out. I'm just like, that's what I'm thinking about based on the information that I have. Again, I could be wrong, but that will lead me to any and all thoughts are in the comment section down below. I want to hear from you guys and see what you guys have to say about this stuff. Or do you like where the story's going? I, for one, really like the lore and the narrative of where this is pointing towards Soul Calibur 7, and I really think this is going to be a much greater series than it ever was in the past. But any and all thoughts are always welcome in the comment section down below. You can also join my Discord if you want to bring the conversation over there. There's already a lot of people over there, so maybe you can get a lot of your thoughts across over there and find some like-minded individuals as well. But for now, we're going to end the video today. I will catch you on the next video, and as always, I love it. Thank you.
And thank you.